I see we're live. We just wait for a couple seconds.
All right.
Hi, if you can see us or hear us, let us know where you're joining us from, where you're located, and how are you doing this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. I'm trying to wait for notifications from LinkedIn. I don't know if, okay, we just got live on LinkedIn. Fantastic. Um, I'm also waiting for the notifications for YouTube. Okay, fantastic. We're live on YouTube and everywhere else. Awesome. Um, I'm better this week. I'm in a happier mood this week. We're trying to get through everything that happened last week. So it's good to see you guys. Here on the Fireside Chat today, I have Stacey Barlow Hill, and she's a leadership coach. So she's really going to be talking to us about why personal growth is essential for your success, and sharing some tips and strategies for us to move into leadership positions, how to develop our leadership skills, and all of that. So let's get to meet you, Stacey. Welcome, by the way.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on your platform today.
Thank you. You're welcome. So tell us a bit about you and what you do, Stacey.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a leadership and lifestyle coach, but my career began about a decade ago. I am an event planner. I've had a company called Encore Event Design for the last decade. I started as a solopreneur and have now grown it to a team of 12. This year was our 10-year anniversary, so we we're excited to celebrate, but COVID kind of got in the way and messed up a little bit in the event industry. COVID hasn't really been our friend. I don't think it's been anybody's friend, but especially for my peers in the event industry. But we pivoted, we made it work, we came up with new stuff, and my team's still going strong, so we're still working it out. But over the decade, I just learned a lot. I learned about just leadership and team building, and that it really takes that the personal growth and then the leadership skills that really help you to catapult to success. And it took me a while to figure that out. So my whole mission in life right now is to coach others through that, particularly small business owners, really helping them if they're feeling overwhelmed, to help them just work through that self-development, build those expert leadership skills, and then they begin to see success in all areas of their life. And a lot of them just don't even realize that's what they need until they start to see the results from it.
Fantastic. I agree. Whether you're a professional, whether you own a business, you have to take your personal growth seriously and being intentional about growing and improving and getting better. Right. So no matter what, I find that even though that, I have my own consulting company, I find the more I get better and improve myself, as long as I'm growing, it sort of impacts, my business as well. Right. Everything about me, is growing. So let's talk about personal growth. When we say personal growth, some people might not be clear on what we mean by personal growth. So when you say personal growth is essential for your success, what do you mean by that?
Absolutely. It means, and one keyword that you kept saying was intentional. You have to be intentional about personal growth. Personal growth doesn't just happen. It's not something that you just land upon. Like, you have to be intentional about it. And usually once you get a taste of it, for most people, it's something that becomes almost addictive because you immediately see results from personal growth. So personal growth can look like reading books, listening to podcasts, taking a course, hiring a coach, improving your health, your lifestyle, anything that is going to personally impact you so that you can be better to impact others. Your personal growth is so important, especially as a leader, because you can't lead someone if you're not at a certain level. You need to kind of be above where they are, because you have to be able to pour into them. So if you're at the same level, you're not able to lead. So you have to continually be able to to improve yourself and to better yourself and to gain knowledge and to become that expert in your industry and an expert at yourself, because you have to be able to lead yourself before you effectively lead others. So it's just so important. And like I said, a lot of people they don't realize it until they tap into it. And once you tap into it, it just becomes so addicting, and it's just something that you just want to continue forever, and you should continue forever. Self-development should never be a period where you stop. You should always be striving to be better and to do better.
Right. Amazing. So when it comes to personal growth, what are some strategies we can implement to start growing, personally, so that we can evolve and everything around us can evolve, our businesses, in our careers? What are some strategies we can start using today to start seeing some growth in our personal lives?
Sure. So the first thing I tell people is don't expect to be this whole new person overnight. You're not going to read a book and suddenly be a completely different person. It's going to take you some time.
Yeah.
It's going to take intentionality. It's going to take action. It's going to take follow through. It's something that you're going to have to put into practice daily. You're going to have to live this to really see your results. So I tell people to first get clear. Clarity is such it's such key when it comes to your personal growth and your success and your development, because if you're not clear on what it is that you're trying to do, everything else is just going to be fog. You're going to be saying yes to the wrong things. You're going to allow the wrong people into your spaces. You're going to take on the wrong clients. Everything is just going to not make sense if you're not clear on what it is. And a lot of times we get burnt out and overwhelmed because we're not clear on what it is that we're trying to do. So clarity is really key when it comes to your personal growth. Why do you want to grow? Who are you trying to help? Who do you want to lead? What are your goals? What are you aspiring to be? So that's the first thing that I usually tell people: get super clear on what you want, because clarity is going to bring about motivation. It's going to eliminate some of those fears that come along with what it is that you're trying to do. It's going to help with the burnout, because when you're clear, you allow things into your circle and into your space that align with what you want to do. If you're clear about what you want to do, you're going to be able to say no to those things that no longer align with your journey, that no longer align with your purpose. So being super clear on what you want. And if you're not clear right away, just starting somewhere is going to help you get clear, because the more you work on your self-development, the more you work on yourself, the more you realize things about yourself. You uncover your passions, you uncover your purpose, you uncover maybe strengths you didn't know you had. You may uncover weaknesses that you didn't know you had that you need to work on. Personal development really helps you explore and get to know yourself, which will, as a result, bring about clarity in itself.
Fantastic. You mentioned something that I was just going to ask you about, which is that self-discovery. And that's also something that you teach and coach about, is, that self-discovery of knowing, your purpose, right? And aligning your passion to become purpose, right? So how do we find purpose? How are you able to tell us about some steps we can take, or what we can do to find purpose? A couple of people, may have been in the same role for a while or doing the same thing, but they're not exactly fulfilled in the work that they do. They just work because they have to work and pay the bills. How can one really, find purpose?
So a quick way, you can journal. I find that journaling really helps you to just kind of unleash things you may have not even known that you were thinking about. Creating a list of your strengths and your weaknesses. That helps. Things that you're good at. A lot of times we have gifts and talents that come so natural to us that we don't understand why nobody else is doing it, or can't understand why everybody's not doing this thing that comes so easily to me. That's a gift. That's a talent. That can be your purpose. A lot of times your talent, your natural talents is in alignment with your passion and purpose. But a lot of times because it comes so natural to you, you don't understand why everyone else is not doing it. Early in my career, when I became an event planner, before I decided to take that leap and to open my company, I didn't understand why everybody, like, to me, being organized and details and all of that stuff just came so naturally to me that I'm just like, well, anybody can have an event company. Like, that's just a no-brainer. Like, anybody can do that. And as I found out, like, no, everybody can do that. That's not everybody's talent. Like, that's a natural gift, to be organized and to be able to enjoy details and things like that. And then I also realized, there's things in my life, like I like to clean, I'm good at it, but I would much rather pay someone else who enjoys doing it. And in my own business, as I was hiring people for my team, an admin was the first person that I hired, because though I love details, I don't like those details. I didn't enjoy, answering the calls and booking and proposals, but I hired an admin who absolutely loves that. Like, that's her passion. She loves talking to people and being that first responder. She loves the interaction with the client. So there's always someone that loves what they do, and they may not see that as necessarily a passion or a purpose. And another thing I tell people is that your passion doesn't always have to be something super size. In your purpose, your purpose does not have to be the president. Your purpose does not have to be an ambassador for a country. Like, you don't have to have some super size, like, out of reach purpose. Your purpose can simply be to encourage others, to help someone else find their way, to help bring out something in someone that they didn't even know they had. So there's so many things. So when you start to think in terms of that and not thinking that it has to be something that is going to change the whole world, maybe you just need to change your family first, or maybe you just need to change your environment first. So get out of your own head and stop comparing yourself to others. But really just starting with getting everything out of your brain, dump it into a journal. And then lastly, what I do with my clients, any client that comes on with me, we start with a personality assessment. So we do this personality profile and really dive in deep. It's a 30-page report that we go through and really, really dive into. These are your strengths. These are your weaknesses. This is how you're showing up to other people. This is how you interact with other people. And it really serves as a starting place to next dive into, okay, now how can we channel this into finding your purpose and passion and giving you accountability for your next steps.
Fantastic. I really like the fact that you're talking about, really understanding who you are, the core of your essence and what makes you unique. And the thing is, for a lot of us, we kind of undermine the things because doing something comes easy to you and it comes natural to you. That's your superpower. Yes. Don't underestimate the things that come easy. If you're very analytical, that's your superpower. If you have great communication skills, that's your superpower, right? Whatever it is, if you know how to, you're a great communicator, you know how to negotiate. There's people who are paid thousands of dollars to negotiate contracts, right? To negotiate bids. There are people who are paid to motivate other people, right? If there's something that comes unique to you and it's easy to you, it's natural, that's your unique gift. That's your superpower. Don't undermine it because you didn't go to an Ivy League school to go get a degree or a certificate to say, oh, wow, now Stacey has now been certified as the best, blah, blah, blah. That's really not how it works. That's not how it works. A lot of, we're made so perfect, in the eyes of God that, he's giving every one of us unique talents, unique gifts in different ways, in different areas. Some people it's teaching. I love to teach. Like, I love to teach people. I like to, simplify things that are so complex and make it easy for people to understand. Everyone has unique gifts, and you don't have to go to some of these gifts. You don't have to go to a college to get those gifts. You may work on them by, getting extra knowledge or upskilling, but there's some things that just come natural to you, and you can definitely leverage that because that's your superpower.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a question here. Akwete, thank you for your question. Where are you joining us from, by the way? Says, what decision should one take when you have discovered your passion but have an offer that is way higher than the role?
Hmm. I'm not sure I understand that. A decision you should take when you have discovered your passion but have an offer. Is this like a job offer?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's a job, or so your passion, is it work related or like business related though? So I don't know if it's hmm. So I'm trying to understand. Maybe her or his current situation is that maybe what I'm doing right now is aligned to my passion, but I have an offer for something that's really not aligned to my passion, but it's way higher and maybe better pay. What should I do in that situation? I'm thinking that's
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah. So maybe you've discovered your passion and maybe you haven't quite yet figured out how to monetize it. And that's okay.
mm,
Because most times when people are operating in their passion, they're still fulfilled. And usually you can find some way to use that passion in whatever it is that you're doing. So my passion is really leadership and team building and helping others, bring out the best in them. I still run an event planning company full time. I don't enjoy physically producing events anymore.
yeah.
Love leading my team, and I still find ways to bring my passion into my work, even though that's not what I do full time in that career. But I
Yeah.
was able to build a whole nother career based off of my passion doing what I do. But it took some time for that. So I would just advise you to keep finding ways to bring that passion into whatever it is that you're doing. You may need that high offer to help, secure your lifestyle right now. So
Right.
take it if that's what you need
Back
to
first.
do. But you can make your passion a side hustle. You can find ways to incorporate it into your 9 to 5 that you're doing. And eventually, your passion is going to motivate you. So eventually, if you're so fulfilled doing that, the money is going to come. So don't look at it as I've got to find a way to make money from this, because it's going to burn your light for your passion if you focus it all around money. Focus your passion on what you love to do and let it be fulfilling to you, and the money is going to come eventually from it.
Mm, nice. All right. So, Quada, I hope that was helpful for you.
Yes, I hope we
In your
answered
current
that.
situation. What did you say?
I just said I hope we answered that right.
Yeah, I hope so too. So based on your situation, Stacey has given you, several ways whereby you can still, do what you're passionate about, and then also still find a way to monetize it. And, you can still pick up that higher role and have your whatever you're passionate about, to have that as a side business. Okay, so let's talk about something else that you typically like to speak about, which is overcoming limiting beliefs, right? Um, for a lot of professionals, moving into, so she said, yes, you did. So thank you, Stacey.
Okay,
Um,
wonderful.
for a lot of professionals, when we're looking to move up, in our careers, or looking to maybe start a business, or looking to really follow our passion, because sometimes we just get out of college, and we take a job and we're just in that role, and at some point there's that awakening, like, okay, I need to do what I'm really passionate about. There's that limiting belief, like, can I really do this? Can I get into this position right now? Can I make this transition in my career? Can I start this business? What are some ways we can overcome these limiting beliefs? We all face it. Sometimes it's called imposter syndrome. How can we fight through this? It's a challenge that we all face in different levels. There's no one that's excluded from it, right? How can we work through fighting these limiting beliefs?
It honestly is so simple that it doesn't even feel like an answer. It really just comes down to making the decision to think positive and change your mindset. I mean, I can give you a bunch of textbook answers and mumble jumble, but it really just comes down to making the decision to think
Yeah.
positive. You have to make the decision to change your mindset. There's an example that I love to give. I have twin girls. They're 13. Um,
Oh.
when they were about maybe 7 or 8, they came home from school one day and they did the same classes, they get the same grades academically, they do exactly the same. So for them to come home with the same exact grades on this day it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
So but they came home and one of them, they had a whole stack of papers and they all had A's and they had one C. So one came in the house and she had the whole stack of papers and she had the A on the top. And she said, Mom, look, she said, I got one not so good grade, but I got a whole bunch of other good grades. And she said, look, look, look. And she was so excited. And the other one came through the door. She had the C on the bottom of the pile. And she was almost in tears. And she goes, Mom, I got to see, like, so it's the end of the world. And she could care less about all the A's that she got. And she focused on that one C. And I use that example. They are identical twins. They're so identical that Ancestry.com thought they were the same people. They share DNA. They look exactly alike, but they had completely different mindsets about that same exact situation. The same situation. Both of them had all A's and one C, and one was almost in tears, and one was able to see all of the beauty and all the good things that she did in that. And it's such a real life example of how we can train our brains. We can have the same exact situation. You can wake up and face everything that's coming at you that day and take on the mindset of, I'm going to get through this day. I'm going to conquer it. I am aligned with my purpose. I know what I'm doing this for. I know that everything on my calendar today is getting me closer to where I need to be. So I am going to do this with a smile on my face and know that I'm getting closer to where I want to be.
Yeah.
The person with the same calendar could wake up and think the exact opposite. So it really, honestly, simply comes down to you have to make the decision to change your mindset and to think positively in all situations. And it really just goes back to the clarity and everything that we talked about before. When you're clear on what you're doing, it's a lot easier for your mindset to shift in the direction with that.
Fantastic. We can never overemphasize the where mindset comes in with regards to the life decisions that we make and what we do and what we make of our life. Like you said, twins, look the same, speak the same. However, they think differently. When we focus on the positives and focus on, what makes us unique, that helps you to hone in on the things that, like we said, your strengths, and focus on that and ignore all the other things that are the weaknesses and really focus on that. So Kweti says, I like the use of your superpower for talent. It helps us see that it's really God-given. That's why it's called a gift. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We already have so much in us that we barely even use, right? And even the ones that we are using, we still underestimate it because, we feel we haven't met up to some certain high standards we've put out for ourselves. We feel, who am I to speak about this, right? I don't have 30 years of experience in this. I don't have, a PhD in this. There's people who have been doing this, way before me. They know better than me. And because of that, I should, keep short and just be a listener and not be speaking up and really showing up as, who I should be. Right. So let's talk about leadership. And this brings us to leadership, really. A lot of people struggle with being seen, being in leadership, developing their leadership skills. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you typically speak and coach about, which is really, how to develop this expert leadership skills, right? So let's talk about, developing leadership skills. What are your tips, strategies, or what do you typically share with people who are trying to build leadership skills but are having these challenges?
So first, you have to dismiss the myth that people are just naturally born leaders. Now, granted, there are some that are born where leadership is it comes easier to them, is what I'm trying to say. Leadership comes easier to some people than others, but you can absolutely learn to be a leader. It's not something that you have to be born with, that you just have to naturally be talented at. You can you can grow and learn to become an excellent leader. And it first starts with your personal development. And that's why I'm a leadership and lifestyle coach, because I truly believe that your personal development is going to set the path for your leadership. So the more that you grow, the more that you learn, the more that you become an expert in your field, it's going to be a lot easier for you to lead because you have all of this already in you, and now it's overflowing. So you're able to just let it spill into the people that you're leading and growing. You also have to dismiss the myth that leadership is about just being a boss, that it's about just being in charge of people. If you go into it with that mindset, you're not going to be a good leader. You have to go into leadership with, we were just talking about gifts, and gifts they're called gifts for a reason. They're meant to give away. God gave you to give away. It's a gift. So when you combine your personal growth, your leadership, and your gifts and all that, you become a servant leader. And those are all the types of leaders that people want to follow. If you think of any great leader in our history and our past and our society, the great leaders were always servant leaders. They're ones that bring the best in people. They're ones that cause people to reach their full potential, that allow them to reach higher. They inspire. They're not ones that are taking from people and expecting them to do something for them the whole time. And a lot of times you hear servant and leader in the same breath, and you don't understand how that can be possible. How can you serve if you're trying to lead? How will people respect you if you're serving them? It really goes hand in hand. If you think about the type of leader that you want someone that is going to act as a mentor, that's going to inspire you, that's going to take the time to get to know you. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with those that you lead, but it does mean that you have to know when their birthday is. You need to care if they're in the hospital. You should know their children's names. You have to have a connection with them, because people want to work for, when they have a job, they're working for their job, but they're ultimately working for you. If you are not able to form a connection with them and lead them in the direction that they want to go, most people leave their companies because of their leadership, not necessarily because of what they're doing. So really, it's just having your personal growth, is having a servant's heart, using your gifts to uplift others, and to really remember that leadership is not about you, it's not about being a boss, but it's about serving, and that's about helping to bring out the best in those that you lead.
Fantastic. I really love, what you say. Leadership is really about serving. A leader is the servant. You're serving people, right? And you're helping them to bring out the best in themselves. And that also takes, a bit of work with you, growing, in that. And not everyone is a born leader. Some people have to learn how to be leaders. About mindset, Faith says, I agree with you, Stacey. Having a positive mindset is very important. Our mindset determines the way that we see things. Absolutely. Thank you, Faith.
Thank you.
Akwaite is asking another question, says, I think the greatest leadership quality is the ability to make the right choices. Can this be learned?
Well, I think if you get so caught up in making the right choices all the time, you're gonna kind of set yourself up, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. But if you're operating from your values, if you know your values, if you know what you stand for, if you're a person of integrity, those choices are going to become easier to make. And ultimately, you'll end up making the right choices because they're in alignment with your spirit, with your gut, your intuition. They're going to line up with what you value and what you stand for. So when people come to me and want me to wear stuff that doesn't align with my brand or my values, it's easy for me to say no, and respectfully, this doesn't quite align with who I am or what I do. So it's going to set you up to put you in a position that you are less likely to make the wrong decisions. But we're all human. We make mistakes. And the thing is, if you do find yourself in a situation where you've made the wrong choice, to be able to own up to it, to be a person of integrity and say, I messed up. I'm going to take responsibility for that. So we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes sometimes. But if you're aligned with your purpose, more than likely, you're going to be able to stay in the right lane and stay in the right mindset.
Can we all have be leaders? Can we all have leadership skills? So can everyone be a leader?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. I think anybody can be a leader. Um, it's once you get into leadership, it's not usually something that you just ask for. You usually kind of
Mhm.
fall into it.
Yeah.
Leadership comes with a lot of responsibility. You
Mm.
have a lot of people that count on you and depend on you. So
Yeah.
it's not usually something that people want to do. It's usually something that you fall into that you have to learn how to do really well, because you need leadership if you're trying to grow your company and grow yourself as an
Yeah.
individual. So absolutely anybody can be a leader. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. All right. So tell us a bit about your podcast. So you have a podcast. What's the podcast about?
The podcast is the Live, Lead, Succeed podcast, and I absolutely love it. I'm an introvert. I do
Mm.
not enjoy being on camera. I love.
Oh, there you
I,
are, right?
I am much more comfortable behind the scenes.
Mm.
Hence my event planning company. I was behind the scenes for many years. I didn't have to be out front, but I kind of alternate. The podcast episodes between me just talking and giving advice, quite similar to what we've been doing today.
Right.
And I also bring on guests, and I want people to hear their stories, because everyone's stories are so similar. I'm sorry, not similar, but they're so different, but yet similar.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see people and we see where they are now, but we don't quite know the journey that it took for them to get there. We don't know their background. We don't know all that they've been through. And that's something that I love to happen on the podcast. I love for people to just see where someone started and their choices and their actions and what got them to ultimately to where they are now. So
Yeah.
that's what I really enjoy about it, listening to others and not having to be on camera.
All right. Well, don't worry, you'll be out of the camera soon. But on a final note, before we wrap up, for a professional who wants to be a leader, who's looking to lead, who's looking to move into being, just being a contributor to someone who is now being a thought leader, who's looked up to, who's mentoring other people. What's your advice for professionals who have this in as a goal for them? They want to be able to achieve this, in their careers. What's your advice for them on a final note?
My final note is just to seek help. I mean, I'm a coach, but I have a coach. Most coaches do have coaches. They have mentors. So find
Coaches.
someone that can help. It doesn't have to be us. It can be whoever's in your field that can, lead you to where you want to go. But it really helps to have accountability. To have someone that's in your field that has already done that can help guide you. So find a mentor, invest in a coach, invest in yourself. Sometimes we see, the prices of coaching and services and we get scared, but it always comes back to you. As long as you go into the program with the mindset of I'm here to invest in myself, I'm going to show up for myself, and I'm going to take everything that I've learned and use it, it's always going to come back to you. You can't go wrong with investing in yourself. So if you don't have the money for that, find a Facebook group that you can join, find a support group. Listen to podcasts, do those types of things. Don't ever let your self-development, your personal development go by the wayside. Always make that a priority. So start with what you can do, but ultimately, try to invest in yourself and take a course, get a coach, do something. But most coaches have coaches, so it's a good way to go. Investing yourself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Every successful coach has a coach, right?
Yeah.
And it just keeps going up because, for every level, of success you want to attain, you need someone to help you get there. And that's the truth, whether you like it or not. So if you're not investing in yourself, you would not, and you don't have that investment mindset, you definitely won't see a return on the investment. But when you're doing things like coaching and courses and getting support, and even if you're not exactly paying, for it with money, you're paying for it with your time, you're paying for it with your energy, so many ways that you're definitely paying for it. By the end of the day, if you have the right mindset, you definitely get the results. So thank you so much, Stacey, for hopping on and sharing some tips that would help us grow our our personal lives and our journey towards leadership and actually getting success in our careers, helping us to also find our passion and purpose and align them together. So thank you so much, Stacey. And Stacey's going to be in the mastermind as well. So if you're in the mastermind, you're going to also have some time to experience Stacey and learn more about her leadership coaching as she helps you to prepare for those leadership positions and get those expert skills. So thank you for coming on the Fireside Chat, Stacey, and bye for me.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you all.
I got you on camera.